Okay, so now, question number 1. Let us turn. Now, actually, this person didn't give a verse. But, now, Chloe asked, why is meat offering called meat offering when it is just flour, oil, and frankincense? Alright? So Chloe's question is, why do we call it meat? Why call it meat offering when it's just flour? Is that how you pronounce it? How you pronounce this, Jennifer? Say again? Flour. Samantha, how do you pronounce this? Yes. How you pronounce it? Flour. Alright? I don't know how to spell flour. Now, Singaporeans, we call it flour. Alright? We say, have some cooking flour. Flour. Alright? Flour. So there was once, I was in a shop. This Ang Mo boy came to this Chinese shop. He said, can I have some flour? And then the man said, we don't sell flour here. And then there's like stacks of flour on the shelf. And I said, no, uncle, he wants this one. Oh, flour! I think the poor boy was really confused. He probably go home, nah, mom, flour! Alright, so yeah, I think the proper pronunciation, as Samantha also said, the proper pronunciation, flour, right? Flour. You pronounce it flour? Flour, right? But wrong, don't say flour. Flour. Okay, now, so why do you call it meat offering when it's flour, oil, and so on? Anyone want to guess? It's difficult to guess because it's a Hebrew word. Okay, the Hebrew word. So when you read this word, meat offering, the Hebrew word is, wait, let me try and put saliva in my mouth first. Okay, it's called mincha. Right? Mincha. Okay? Sorry, if any saliva flew on you. Mincha. That is the word for this word which is translated as meat. Okay? Now, in the Bible, mincha is not only flour, oil, and so on. In other places in the Bible, mincha is also used for offerings that involve animal meat. Okay? So this word, I don't know how to, I think it's like that lah. Okay, but basically is, if you want to know the Hebrew word, okay, mincha, okay? When you see this meat, it can be animal offering, it can be, like you say, flour, it can mean different thing. So it's not just this. Answer your question? I give you an example. Turn to Genesis 4, 3-5. Genesis 4, 3-5. Okay, Genesis 4, 3-5. Now let us read. You there? Reading. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel also brought the firstlings of his fat.
The Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Unto Cain and to his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
Okay, mincha can mean different kinds of offering. So don't think when you say meat offering means it's only meat. Neither is it only flour. Neither is it only certain other things. Okay, Chloe, can? All right. So answer your question now. But so what if we know this? So what if we know this? Now the question is, what is more important? What are minchas? What are this kind of offerings? What are this kind of offerings? All right. So let me help you try to focus by drawing for you. So when, okay, I'm blocking many of you. All right, so when someone brings a mincha. When someone brings a mincha, it can be meat, it can be flour, it can be other things, all right? What is a meat offering? What is this mincha offering? What is it supposed to mean? That is the important thing. Now, this word in the language, it refers especially to people bringing tribute. Okay, I already said, whenever I don't know how to explain difficult English word to young people, I will ask Shalomia. So Shalomia, do you know what's tribute? Okay, how to explain to Phoebe, tribute? Not to explain, so I also don't know how. Now, tribute is like that. When someone brings mincha, now, it means someone bringing tribute, it means someone bringing a gift that is offered to, for example, a king. Tribute means it is offered to, for example, king. King. It's offered to a king, someone of high authority and rank. Then you bring something to offer in tribute means in respect, in devotion, means we telling the king, "O king, we are your subjects. We are here. We want to offer you something to show that you are king over us, and we want to obey you." Understand that? Okay, Phoebe, can? Means bringing mincha is to show respect, and we will obey you. You are king to us. So when you see meat offering, Chloe, when you see meat offering, it refers to this kind of attitude. Understand that? It's more important to know that, because today, are you going to bring any meat offering? Bring any flour? No, right? So does it mean no need this idea in the New Testament anymore? What do you think, Elim? Today, this is Old Testament, people bring mincha. In the New Testament, is there any idea that we still bring this kind of tribute to Christ, to God? Noah. Okay, Noah. I mean, no, Noah. Any?
Well, do we give offerings in church?
We give offerings in church. Yes, offerings in church, as you give, it is a show of your love and tribute. But more than that, okay, adults. Let me see. Older adults. Claude, can you think of any Bible verse that talk about presenting this kind of offering to Christ as respect and devotion and giving ourselves to Him? So it's like giving self. We are your subjects. We belong to you. We worship you. Choir, singing. Okay, we present things to Him. But the most ultimate one is what? Now, any parent here? After we answer that question. Yes.
Parent, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, any parent here? Okay, Maggie, your mommy just put out her hand. Any parent here will offer your child on the altar, sacrifice, and burn the child to God? You want to be? No. Okay? Because this kind of offering is like that, it's like offering your all, your most precious. So parent, you want to offer your most precious, and God said, burn this child for you. After we ask a question, because someone asked, how come this judge in Israel, he offer his daughter as a sacrifice? So which daughter wants to be a sacrifice? No, right? But does the Bible tell us to make sacrifice to God? Yes, okay. Colin, which verse?
I don't know the verse, but the Bible says we have to offer our bodies as living sacrifices.
Okay, so now God tells us to present our bodies as a living sacrifice to God, right? Turn to Romans 12:1. Now, so you learn the Hebrew word, very good, but what is its application for us? Romans 12:1. Shall we read together? I beseech you, therefore, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Now, does the Bible, now Elim, so when you think, does the Bible tell us to present tribute, sacrifice to God in the New Testament? Yes, he say, I plead with you, brethren, Elim included, you by the mercies of God, you present your bodies a living sacrifice. So Elim is alive. Your daddy, mommy will present you as living sacrifice to God. Is it that? So what do you think it means? Okay, Noah will help you. Yes.
Is it like if you're living sacrifice, your life is put into like serving God and just serving God and nothing else?
Okay, so is it like you take your life, you take your heart, and you give it to God, your life and your heart. You give it to God and say, God, this, my heart and my life is sacrificed to you. It all belongs to you. It's all yours. That's the meaning of sacrifice, huh? It's all yours. All belongs to you. So does the Bible ask us to do sacrifice? In that sense, yes. It's present our own lives. So when you understand minka, it is respect, devotion, and giving of the self to God. Do you all want to give your life to God and tell God, God, I love you. I am here for you to use. Use me and all I have. Yes? Yes, right? So that is what it means. So, Chloe, so the next time you read meat offering, minka, then you say, I, Chloe, also want to offer minka to you, God. I give you my life, my heart. I belong to you. You are my king. You are my Lord. I offer my all to you. All right? Okay. So anyone don't want to do that? Say, God, I don't care. You died for me. You paid for my sin. You saved me. But I'm not going to care about you. Then you don't understand what salvation is. All right? So that is minka. Can? Answer the question? Now, there is another. Can you think of a very good example in the Bible before we move on? Where someone talks about meat. Someone talks about meat. Okay, try Shama. Someone talks about meat. Like meat offering. We say meat offering. Someone talks about meat. And he obey God 100%. Who is it? And say, my meat. He used the word meat. Doesn't ring a bell? Nope. Okay. Abraham? No, in the New Testament. Well, anyone? Esther? Paul? No. He used the word meat. My meat. Okay, Samantha, I'm sure you know. Christ, what did Christ say? My meat is to... Okay, let's turn to the Bible, all right? Let's turn to John chapter 4, verse 34. John 4, 34. Now, Christ gave the best example. Christ gave the best example. Let's read together. Jesus said, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. Let's read again. My meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. You see, Christ offered himself as a sacrifice, and Christ said, my meat is to do the will of the Father. He offered himself as a sacrifice. He lived to do that. Okay? So young people, you learn this word, but now you must know how to live such a life. Live for Christ. Okay. Now, next question. Now, no use learning all this, but we don't live it, okay? Now, next. Okay, Maggie has this question. Maggie asked, will we have free will in heaven since we will never sin again? Will we have free will in heaven since we will never sin again? Yeah. So Young asked about free will. Okay, how to explain to you? Will we have free will when we get to heaven? Because since we'll never sin again. Now, first and foremost, we must understand free will. When we say free will, what does it mean? Maggie, when you say free will, what were you thinking of? Huh? Oh, you didn't ask this question? Oh, okay. Then I can't remember who then. Alright, what is free will? Susan, do you remember?
Being able to understand and differentiate between good and evil and not sin.
Okay, can understand between good and evil, can differentiate between good and evil, and able to choose not to sin, and able not to sin, able to not sin. Okay, yes? In the Bible, when you say free will, it means this. Okay, free will means this. Free will, Elim, free will, what do you think of free will when you say free will? Don't think about such deep thoughts. Okay. Most of us think free will. Now, so, maybe I put the other way. Do we have free will today? Shalomia, do you think you have free will? You are able to differentiate between good and evil, choose not to sin, and able to not sin before you were saved? Yes. Okay. Maggie say no. Now, what the Bible explains is, before we get saved, you turn to Romans. Okay, Romans chapter 3. So who asked this question? Don't know. Okay, Romans chapter 3. Since it's asked, I will answer. Now, can we read verses 10 to 18? Reading Romans 3, 10 to 18. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth, there is none that seeketh after God. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asp is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursings and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways, and the way of peace have they not known. There is no fear of God in their eyes. Now, God, okay, Shalomia, God described here the person before salvation. Okay? So before salvation, now Shalomia, I ask you, before salvation, does God say there is some people that will do good? Look at verse 12. Some people will do good. No. Why? No, not one. God says not a single one will do good. Not a single one will do good. So unsaved person will not do good. Not a single one. Now, then another one. Is there, verse 11, is there anyone that is, verse 10, anyone that is righteous? Zero. No righteous person. So no righteous. Cannot do good. Not a single one will do good. And then you look at, like Susan pointed out, look at verse 11. There is none that understandeth, none that seeketh after God. So none understands. None will understand God's word. None will want to obey God's word. That is what it means. None understand, not that they read, they don't understand English. Means they will never accept what God tells them. Understand that? That's what it means. So now, God says before salvation, all sinners. As long as you are a sinner before salvation, there is not a single righteous one. You say, is it true? Vincent, is it true that there is no single righteous unsaved person?
There's none righteous in the eyes of God.
In the eyes of God. Hey, you have classmates that are righteous. You have colleagues at work that are righteous. They are quite good, right? They are very good. Noah, pay attention. Why are you disturbing the girls? Now, non-righteous. Okay, non-righteous means, but no, people give money to charity. They are good people. They do good things. Now, this righteous means none will do anything for the right reason. When they give money to charity, they do it for personal reasons. Never for godly, holy reasons. There are always motives, understand? So whatever good they do, it is hidden motives. Can you think of some hidden motives? Pride, right? If I give, they will put my name in the school. Wow, I gave money. So no matter, their righteous acts are not genuinely righteous. Okay, so even when they do good, not genuine good. There's always personal motives. That's why God said there's none at all. So when we talk about free will, okay, so listen carefully. Shalomia. Free will is being able, or maybe I did put it the other way. Free will does not mean that you cannot choose at all. Are you going to the old folks' home afterwards? No. Can you choose to go, choose not to go? Can. Are you going to eat? Are you going to drink water afterwards? Maybe. So you have choice. You're making. So we make choices. Making choices, making normal choices, daily choices, what to wear, where to go, what to do. It is not talking about that kind of free will. See, I have free will. Whether I want to drink water afterwards or want to drink Coca-Cola, I have free will. Limited for children. Okay? Limited by parents. So I can choose. I can choose. It's not about that. What free will means is you not only know what is good and evil, you understand and you are able to choose, and you will choose to do it and choose it with perfect. Do it perfectly. Understand that? Perfectly. And you will choose God. But God says before salvation you will not. So now, Maggie's question. Okay, Maggie, it's not your question, she's squinting. Now, whoever asked this question, this person asked, so, does it mean that when we get to heaven, okay, when we get to heaven, I will have this free will, I can choose perfectly, and I can choose to sin or choose to not sin. Since I have genuine free will again, a genuine free will, I can choose to sin or I can choose to perfectly obey God. And I will choose God. So the question is, when we get to heaven, I don't know, draw cloud, huh? Will I still have free will? Will I still have the free will to choose to sin and not to sin? Now I answer it the other way. I answer it as, I think the question is more, so I do not know who asked and I don't know what exactly was the context. The question is probably when we get to heaven, now if we have free will we choose to sin or not? What do you think? Let me see whoever. Ignatius. When we get to heaven, will we still choose to sin or not? Means can we still choose to sin and then, but I choose not to sin? Will it be like that? Or will it be we will not sin? We will not be able to sin. We will not be able to sin. Okay? That will be the case. We will not be able to sin. Now, I explain to you why. Now, we can only draw conclusions, alright? When God created the angels, okay, I don't draw angels, I just say angels. When God created angels, listen carefully, when God created angels, some followed Satan, correct? Some disobeyed God. They have free will. They disobeyed God. They chose to disobey God, and they were cast down with Satan. Okay, cast down with Satan and all his demons cast down. Those that obeyed God, they stay in heaven, correct? They stay in heaven or stay in God's presence, okay? Now, Jesse, maybe I ask you, tricky one. Jesse, where are you? Now, Jesse, did Satan fall first? Did angels fall first? Did Satan fall first, or did Adam and Eve fall first? Satan. Why do you say that?
Because God created the angels first.
God created the angels first. Okay. And we also know when Adam and Eve were tempted, who tempted them? Satan, correct? So Satan fell first. Then man fell second, correct? Now, we are all sinners. We are the descendants, we are all sinners, correct? We are all sinners. So we will sin. Why are we sinners, Noah?
Because Adam sinned.
Because Adam sinned and because we are descendants of Adam and Eve, right? Okay, CP. Where's CP? Okay, CP. Now, so we get born, we are sinners. So there are new sinners. There are new sinners every day. Are there new demons every day? Because man just keep giving birth, then we are sinners, more and more new sinners in the world. When the Bible tells us 1/3 of the angels fell, right? 1/3 of the angels God created followed Satan. Now, are there new angels falling from heaven? Are there new angels that disobey and become sinners? Become demons? Any? Elim? No. We don't read that. None. Seem to be fixed. Fixed. Only the human race, more and more sinners. Now, let me ask you why. Esther, why? Why no more fallen angels? God did not create more angels.
Angels cannot procreate.
Correct. Because do angels get married and have children? So angels do not produce new angels, right? Did God create two angels? Angel A and angelic B. And then they got married and produced more angels. No. When God created angels, what did He do? He just created all of them one shot. When God created man, did God say, I create a whole bunch of people? No, right? He created two and then reproduced. Angels are not made by reproduction. Angels God made them. The number is fixed. 1/3 fell. That's it. The remaining 2/3. Do they still sin and fall? No. But those at that point when they chose, they sinned and they fell. But after that, no more. Colin, why do you think so? Don't know. Noah.
Were those angels that fell deceived by Satan, and that's why they fell, or did they just choose to?
Say again?
Were the angels deceived by Satan when they fell, or did they just choose to follow him?
They have free will, so they chose. As far as God did not very clearly say, but they chose to follow Satan. Yes.
Did Satan fall because his name used to be Morningstar, like he used to be in that, and then he was proud of it. And,
Yes.
He did something and then.
Yes. Yes. So Satan fell because he was very proud, right? He was very proud, and he said, "I will be greater than God. I will be more God than God," right? So he was cast down. Then he tempted men. Now, why after that we don't hear of angels falling? Because the number is fixed. Before that, can they sin? They can, and they did. Yes. Okay, forgot. Okay, when you remember. Now, what did God say to Adam and Eve, Mabel? What did God say to Adam and Eve about the tree of good and evil? Or what command did He give Adam and Eve? If, okay, Chloe want to answer. If you eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, what will happen? You shall die. You will die. Right? You will die. Now this death is, who remember? How many kind of death? Yes.
Satan want to not go to hell alone. So is that why he is
Oh, the question is, Satan didn't want to go to hell alone, so he brought other angels along. Well, maybe, but we just know that the other angels chose to follow Satan. Okay, they chose to follow Satan. Now, what was I asking? What did I just? Oh, eat and then die. How many kinds of death? The first death is, I give you the easy one, Brenda. Physical death. What's the second death, Brenda? Spiritual death. All right, and then what is the third one? Eternal death. Eternity in hell. That death. So the final final raising of the body, the final death. All right, so you will die. This will happen to you. But, Chloe, he said, but if you obey me, what will happen? You will live, right? If you obey me, you will live. You will live. You will live means, from what we see, you will live a life where you will not sin. Understand that? If Adam and Eve obeyed God, then from then on, they will be in a sealed state. Understand? They will be in this permanent state where, like these angels here, they will not sin. Like he said, you will not be able to sin. You will not sin. Okay, Brenda? Angels at this point, they also had a point. At that point, they can choose. They chose Satan, they fell. But after that point, so-called the testing point, those that did not, they stayed permanently not able to sin. They will not sin. Understand that? Same for human race. If Adam and Eve chose to obey God, then at that point, they will have that ability to not be able to sin. They will not sin. Okay? Now, let me ask you. Turn to 1 John chapter 3. Oh no, Philippians chapter 3. Philippians chapter 3 verse 20. Shall we read 20 and 21? Philippians 3, 20 and 21. Now let's read together. For our conversation is in heaven, from whence we also look for the Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall change our vile body, and may be fashioned like unto his glorious body, according to the working whereby he is able even to subdue all things to himself. Now what does this tell us? One day when we get the glorious, when we rapture, we will get the glorious body, right? No more space. We will get the glorious body. And this glorious body is as like Christ, correct? It says it is like Christ. Christ, now God's intention in the first place is for Adam and Eve to obey him, not sin. Then they will, from there on, be in a sealed state like the angels. The angels from there on, they will not sin. It was meant for Adam and Eve too. But they failed, and because they failed, then they did not have this state. But why Christ come to die for us and save us is because one day Christ will give us that state. Understand that? That state where we will not sin. Why you want the glorious body? So that no body aches. Not just that, right? It's not that. It's because we long to be in a state where we will not sin. Correct? We long for heaven because we will not sin in that state. So, to answer that question, when we get to heaven, how will we be like? When we get the glorious body, we will be like Christ. We will not sin. That's it. That's why we look forward to it. That's why we desire it. But Adam and Eve failed. And because we are not created individually like angels, so we keep being born. So new sinners keep being added. The angels God created all at one shot, not by reproduction. When they're sealed, all sealed. Now cannot seal because new baby still coming out. But when Christ come, when the final count is done, we'll all be sealed. Okay? We will not sin anymore. Okay. I don't know whether Shalomia, you understand? Okay. Okay, so next question. Okay, next question is this. What, for this, any other questions? Adults? No? Alright, so now this person asked, question number 3. Okay, so, wait, I'm supposed to answer the teens one first. Now Shalomia asked, now shall we turn to Matthew 6, 9 to 13. Matthew 6, 9 to 13. Okay, shall we read? Or we just look at verse 12. Verse 12, let's read together. And forgives us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Try again. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. When we go to nursing home, how do we say this part? Elim, how do we say this part? Hey, you didn't even turn there. You're still taking your pen. What do we say when we come to this part? And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, right? We say that. But Veronica, what is the word here? Debts, debt, and debtors. Debts and debtors. Why? So Shalimia has a good question. How come it's different? So you want to change from today? It's debts and debtors. Sorry, my handwriting is very bad. Debts and debtors. Why do you think so? Why not trespasses? Trespass against us. Trespass against us. Anyone want to guess? Yes, Chloe. Such an excellent answer. So that the nursing home people can understand us better. Do you think so? So the nursing home people can understand us better. What do you mean by that? What happens if Chloe stands next to the elder lady, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors? What do you think they will think about? Money. Or what are debtors? People who owe money. Now, for example, at least today, normally when we say debt and debtors, with debts we think of money, right? You owe me money. Debtors are those that owe you money. So Shalomia has a good question. But it is in a big sense related to, so that the elderly understand. Forgive us our debts and our debtors. Then the elderly lady is sitting next to you. How much I owe you? Let me know. Huh? They were thinking of that. They don't understand how come we owe money. We didn't owe anyone any money. They may not understand. So you're right in that sense. Now, historically, this is what happened. Now, the Greek word, if you think of it strictly, in modern terms, it means owe. All right, you owe You owe someone. You owe someone. Okay, you owe someone and something needs to be paid. You owe and therefore something needs to be paid. Understand that? Owe and needs to be paid. So, Shalomia, you asked, so you got to pay attention. So, what is the word in the Greek for debts? It means you owe and you need to pay. Okay? Now, when it was first translated, the translator translated as debts. Debts. That is actually an accurate translation. Understand that? Accurate. Accurate. But the problem is we only think of debts relating to money. Do you owe debts of other things? Can you think of other debts you owe? Esther or Xing Yun? What other debts you can owe? Favors, right? In Chinese called 人情. You owe favors. You also call it a debt. I have a debt to pay. Means I have a favor to pay back. Debt can be used for many things, but most time people think of money today. Now, then along the way, another translator, desiring that they would translate it so that, like Chloe say, people may have a clearer understanding. He translated it as trespass. Do you think when God says that He's talking about money? No, He's talking about what, Shalomia? Forgive everything. So when you say, forgive me of my trespass, what's a trespass? Sin. Trespass means you sin. Alright, you cross the line. Means what God command, you go over it, you go against it. That's called trespass. We put a sign there, no trespassing. Means what? From this line onwards, you cannot cross over. No trespassing, right? So sin is trespass. So he translate, the meaning is sin. Now, is sin a debt? Shalomia. Is sin a debt? Kind of. What did Jesus come to do? Pay. Jesus came to pay for our sins. We always say Jesus come to pay for our sins, right? You're talking about debts, understand? When we sin, then we are owing God something. We owe God. And Jesus will come and pay. We owe God, what is due to us is punishment, judgment. Okay? So, is sin needs to be paid for. That's why Jesus died on the cross. He paid for our sins. Now, young ones, do you want to pay for your own sins? Phoebe, do you want to pay for your own sins? How? You want to pay for your own sins? Or you want someone else to pay for you? What happens when if it is not paid, if your sins are not paid, what will happen? You will go to hell because you have to pay yourself, right? So it is a debt. It is a debt. But over time, they used the word trespass, and it became easier to relate to, understand. Then they just stuck with that in the common prayer. Understand? In the common prayer. Common prayer means it's a book of prayer, and then they all have those prayers. Then Shalomia, they just chose to use this word in the common prayer book. But in the Bible, it is that. It is accurate. Understand? Answer your question? So over time in history, the common book of prayer, they just used this one. That they felt more people understood when it's prayed. So at old folks' home, they also understand, like Chloe rightly pointed out. Okay, so that's it. Because I know a few people ask, how come we always say trespass when the Bible said that? It's just that. Okay? But the meaning is the same. The meaning is the same. What time is evangelism briefing? Huh? 2, is it? Okay, one last question. So, what's that? Alright, so this person asked this. Now turn to Judges chapter 11. Okay, Judges 11, the person's question is, where is it now? Oh, Judges 11, let's read verses 30 and 31. 30 and 31 reading. Okay, so the person asks, why Jephthah vowed such a strange vow that offers a human being for a burnt offering? Why did Jephthah vow such a strange vow that offers a human being for a burnt offering? Okay, so the question is why. Now, before I forget, before I clean this off, so the person who translated that was John Wycliffe. Okay, John Wycliffe, let's give you the dates. John Wycliffe in 1395, John Wycliffe in 1935, he translated it as that. And then Tyndale in 1526. Oh, Shalomia is not here. All right. In 1526, he translated as trespasses, and they used that for the prayer book. Okay? Now, next. So now, the question is, why did Jephthah offer such a strange vow? Now, which parent will offer that? Right, Alex, will you offer when your daughter say, God, if you help me in my job, I will offer you... Which one? Who want to go? All right. Veronica is looking down. All right, I offer you this daughter to be a sacrifice. To be a sacrifice. So the person asks, why would someone offer such a strange vow? Why do you think so? Huang Ti, you ask this question. Okay, so I cannot ask you. Now, Clara, why do you think so? Why would he offer such a strange vow? Is it strange? It's strange, okay. Why? Why do you think so? Don't know. Those who did Judges. Anyone remember? Wait, who did Judges? Alex did Judges. Why?
It's around that time, every man did what was right in his own eyes.
Okay, number one, the Bible tells us in the book of Judges. In the book of Judges, now it tells us that at that time, every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Means whatever they see, whatever they learn, whatever they want, they just do. If my eyes like it, I will just do it. Let's turn to Judges, the book of Judges. Now, Jephthah is from the book of Judges, right? Judges, the last chapter, chapter 21. Judges chapter 21. Now, let's read Judges 21 together. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. So, in their own eyes, what they see, what they learn, what they observe, and if it pleases their eyes, this is right, I like it, they will just go and do. They don't care about God's word. There was no king to teach them God's word, to judge them, to rule them. They just do whatever they want to, whatever is in their heart. So always remember, this is a very dangerous attitude. Young people, children, do you want to do whatever is right in your own eyes? Is it dangerous? It is, because if it is sinful, you just do, then you will have judgment. Now the question is, why did Jephthah do this? Now, turn to Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 31. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 31. Now, let's read 30 first. 30 and 31, reading together. Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, after that they are destroyed from before thee. And thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did this nation serve their gods even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God. For every abomination to the Lord, which he hateth, hath they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. Now verse 30, God says, now you live in this land. These people are very wicked. Their gods teach them to do wicked things. Shalomia, what is one of the wicked things these people do? And God said, don't learn that. In verse 30. Verse 31. Verse 31, the last part. Oh, you lost a page. Judges 12:31. You're reading Deuteronomy. Oh, sorry. Yes, because I told you to. No. You're right. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 31. You were there. Correct. What was one of the things that the people do? They give their sons and daughters to be burnt in fire to their gods. In other words, you say you live in a nation where these people do wicked things. One of the wicked things that they do is they offer their children as burnt sacrifice to their gods. Understand that? But what did God say to them in verse 30? Now you better pay attention. Take heed to yourself. Don't be snared. Don't be deceived by them. Don't follow their ways. Don't do this. Don't do what? How did this nation serve their gods? Oh, how did they sacrifice to their gods? What do they do to for their gods? Even so will I do. I will learn and I will follow them. So God says, don't do that. The children of Israel, when they disobey God, especially in the time when they just live as they wish, they, instead of obeying God, they say, they offer their children to sacrifice. I will also do that. Wow, that is very, very good. And then so Jephthah was a judge that was like that. He learned, he see, wow, I like this idea, This is extreme sacrifice. Then he say, I will also just say, okay, if I will offer whoever comes out of my house. Understand? So the question, Quang Ti, is, why Jephthah vowed such a strange vow? Why? Because he learned from the heathens, and he just did whatever was right in his own eyes. So Christians, what's the lesson? We better know God's word. When God don't ask us to do those things, don't go and do. God never asks us to go and punish our bodies. Some say, I cannot sleep on beds, I must sleep on floor, I cannot eat nice food, I must only eat plain rice and water. This is very good, because other people do it also. We do what God tells us to do, we don't do what God tells us not to do. Am I right? We don't do what God tells, we do what God tells us to do, what God tells us not to do, we don't do. Don't be like them. Do whatever is right in your own eyes. When you know, obey. Okay, so answer your question, Wang Ti. He just learned and he just want to do. Actually, are we like that? The charismatic do that. We also want that. The world is like that. We also want church to be like that. Whatever is right in our own eyes, we want to do. Can church be like that? Then we will be chaos, like the book of Judges. Okay? Let us pray. Now, someone asked, what is the difference between psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs?
有人说诗章、颂词、灵歌有什么不同？
Someone also asked, can we just have instrumental music?
有人说我们只要乐器的音乐就行就好。
Can we worship God with instrumental music?
我们单单用乐器的音乐来敬拜神就好，可以吗？